Welcome to Don't Get This Twisted. I am the professor with my co-host, Tina. How you doing today?
Hello, Professor. How are you?
Oh, absolutely positive.
Nice.
So today's show, a fun one. I guess a relationship type show. We're going to be doing a show on the 5 love languages, which was something new to you.
Yes.
You did not know about that.
No, I had the book and I did not pick it up and read it. Probably should have done that.
Oh, why do you need to do such craziness?
It happens.
Yes, I believe. And again, this show isn't promoting anyone because, you can get in trouble for things like that. But it actually is by a guy named Gary Chapman. It was written in 1992, which quite a long time ago. And it's basically a quiz, or you can take a quiz to find out what your love language is. And there are 5, and very interesting. There's quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, words of affirmation, and physical touch. Which look, we're all into all of those at some degree. I guess it would all matter where you're at on that spectrum. That's why you take the quiz. It's kind of multiple questions that end up averaging out what you is your love language. I guess we can go. Let's go through them a little bit, kind of talk them out a little bit, and kind of see what you think they are and what I think they are. And then we'll talk about what we both are, because we both took the quiz, which, you end up scoring differently, I think, every time, but with a couple other things. Let's start with quality time. What would be your definition of quality time? No, your definition of that quality time.
It's time spent together doing, whether it be like projects around the house or going out on a date. I think quality time is just actual spending time with each other, and not just spending time, but actually interacting with one another. That's what I would say quality time is.
I would kind of agree with that. I don't think there's really much more in depth that we can go into that. Yes, I think that there are better kinds of quality time, but I believe that quality time can be as simple as literally hanging out on the couch and watching a movie. Or if you have small children, doing something without your small children, just to have quality time where you're kind of doing things as a couple.
Being engaged, I think, with one another's like quality time is, yeah.
This is what, and then I'll give you what the definition I found online is. It says quality time is giving someone your undivided, focused attention.
Ah, that's even better.
Yes. Well, we're brain surgeons here, so I think we're better off if we discuss it, and then we'll find out what the real definition is, because who knows. I'll do the next one. Physical touch. Very, very self-explanatory. But I also think that physical touch can be as simple as holding hands. Obviously, much deeper physical contact. But I also think it can be as simple as being somewhere together and putting your hand on the small of someone's back or in their belt loop, or it's more than just straight naked physical contact. I think it can be as simple as walking down the hallway in your house and meeting halfway and touching hands and keep on going.
Right. It's definitely an intimate exchange to whatever degree it is, whether, and sometimes little touches that happen out in public when you don't necessarily want to be all about the PDA. It's good to have that just as well as it is like, the sex, just plain and simple.
Sure.
But there's so many varying degrees of it for sure.
And their one is pretty much what we just said, feeling affection through physical touch. Got it. Pretty simple. Okay, we're going to go with receiving gifts. What is yours for receiving gifts?
I had a tough one with that because for me, bringing back something from the store, if you're out, I need it. That's something that I think is super cool because it saves me from having to do it. Or if I don't know, they go and they just bring home dinner and I don't have to cook, that to me is receiving a gift. I don't know. I think for me, it's more the little things, but the way that I was reading the questions, it seemed to be much bigger than my expectations are. So I had to think about that one a bit.
Yes, I think you're correct. I think it can be a very wide range of whatever a gift can be on any particular day.
Right.
It could be as much as, I picked up dinner on the way home to help you out. But I also think that that's going to roll into one of the other ones as well. I took it more of, a gift like a rose or whatever it is, something that you're going to keep as a gift. There says giving gifts is a symbol of love and affection. So your definition is probably more true to that one because it's a symbol of love and affection. It can be any of that. Mm-hmm. What's next? This is where I think it rolls into the other one. Yep. The other one is acts of service.
I'd agree. It totally goes into that one.
I think acts of service, though, myself is helping out with dishes, taking out the trash every day, mostly from a man's point of view, going towards a woman is helping out with the things that generally one partner does than the other. You're doing that acts of service to help someone.
Right. I agree with that.
Put gas in the car, do the vacuuming, do it before you're asked, that kind of thing. I think those are the acts of service, at least in my case.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that completely. But I think it's even more than that. Like if I'm cooking and there's an ingredient I don't have, hey, could you run to the store real quick? Or, things like that, things that help make our lives run smoother. Maybe it's not like your first instinct to go and want to do something, but if it makes everything move and progress better, I think that's kind of a cool thing, that act of service. I dig that.
Correct. Their definition, completing tasks and or actions to show your love. And then it says cooking, washing dishes, etc.
Ah, okay. So we're on that one.
So I think it's a little of everything. I think we both kind of hit the nail, just not directly on the head. And then the next one would be words of affirmation. What do you think that is for you?
For me, I like doing that one. Like when I see my mate, like doing the vacuuming or taking out the trash or I always say, oh man, do you look sexy? I like when you do that. I constantly say that to the point where everybody's like, you're pulling a Tina, knock it off. But I think that people would rather do it if they're being told something positive as opposed to, oh, you forgot that, or make sure you put it back in the trash can. Like I hear that all the time from women and I just want to snap for the guy. It's like, I'm already taking out the trash. Can you just shut the fuck up and let me take out the trash, please?
Right. I think that there is a lot to that as well. You're correct. Their definition would be expressing verbal compliments or words of praise and appreciation. So telling somebody, hey, you look good today. Hey, you look sexy when you do that. Or, hey, great job helping me out the other day. that's pretty much how they're seeing it. And I think that most people do crave these 5 things.
Absolutely.
I just think that it's a matter of finding the love language of the person you're with and making sure that you work that into a relationship. It can't be everything, but I think it definitely has to be a very strong point in a relationship. If you can find out the person's love language and be like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I do this, this, and this. The gift part is a hard one, but I think most of the other ones are routinely things that we all should be doing on some level. It's just a matter of how much that other person needs it.
Yeah. I definitely think that we all need it to some degree, and some more than others. I'm finding that I may be one of those chicks that kind of needs it all because of my numbers and how they're not far apart. I was noticing.
See, mine are.
Really? Okay. Oh, yeah. Let's get into that then.
There's a couple that are super duper duper far apart. So I think you're going to be a little more shocked about how close some are and how some are, very, very far apart.
I'm interested to hear what you got.
Okay. So let's go 5 to 1, kind of see how we did. So my number 5, which is my lowest, is at 3%.
Okay.
And it's receiving gifts.
Okay. Mine's at 13%, and it's also the lowest.
Yeah. I hate receiving gifts. I'm absolutely horrible about it. And here's the flip side. I absolutely love giving them.
See, you got to open up then.
Probably. Yeah. It's not that I don't know. I never feel maybe that I don't deserve it, but maybe I don't think that's the real answer. I just think that I love to see someone smile, or I like to get that pop out of them to see their reaction. And for me, it's like, I would rather do that. And I just feel like, I don't know. I don't need that. I don't need that. You're probably right. I probably need to open up a little bit more.
Yeah. I heard I read somewhere that if you truly trust somebody, that you let them help you too. I'm really bad at that. So if you're the one that's always getting called and you never call for help, you're not allowing people, you're not giving them the trust that they need you to have in them to help you out as well. It needs to be reciprocal. And I think it's the same for the getting gifts too. Probably.
I think you're correct. I'm trying to do it. I will tell you that this past year, a friend of mine gave me one of the best gifts I've gotten in a really long time. And it's funny because it's something that I probably wouldn't have bought myself. But it ended up being great, is a beard brush.
Nice.
And I never saw it coming. It was like, they just brought it over and they were like, oh yeah. And I want to say it was for probably my birthday, because it was within this year. So, but yeah, it was interesting, but I'm a gift giver. So like, that is a hard one for me. I would rather be giving the gifts than receiving.
I've been told that I'm hard to give gifts to, because either I'm very specific with what I like and what I use, or they don't know what style I would want. I guess I'm a hard one to buy for. And yet I get told that I'm the one that they wait to see what I'm going to give, because it's always something super personal. And I don't think I'm good at giving gifts. I mean, it's like, what do you want? I'll just get you what you want. But I guess there's something to that as well. I have to be open to whatever somebody brings to me. And I didn't even realize that I was a problem with that until one of my friends told me. So I have to work on that myself.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm a weird gift giver too, because mostly from a relationship standpoint, I do. I'm I'm a person who will leave a note on your car or give you a flower or send flowers or write poems or do full-fledged books and do crazy shit like that. So
See, that would be considered mostly in this time frame that we're living in a stalker. No.
yeah, no, seriously. I mean, I think that it would be looked upon like very bizarre.
It depends on who it is, though. I mean, you have to have a relationship where a woman could accept that.
And understand that that's just who I am.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
Okay, let's look at number 4. What is number 4? Number 4 on mine at 13% is acts of service. I think being single so long, I just do everything by myself. I don't need that. So
for me, that was my number 1 is acts of service at 26%. It's close to my next one of 23%, but those are still the two highest ones.
So what's your number 4?
My number 4, I have a tie for 3rd and 4th with words of affirmation and physical touch.
And they're both tie. It's a tie?
It's a tie at 19%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk number 4 since that's
let's talk your number 4.
My number 4 is acts of service. Again, like I told you, like I think that I've been single so long or lived by myself so long at certain points in my life that it's not that I don't appreciate it, because I do. I just think that I'll just do it myself. And it probably gets me in a lot of trouble, but I think it's just who I am as a person because of situations I've been in. When I was married, I would say I totally took that. Because when I was married, I didn't do my own laundry.
Right.
My ex-wife did my laundry. She did laundry. When I got divorced, it was funny because some of my friends, the first thing they asked me, they were like, "Who's going to do your laundry?" And I was like, "I'm fucking going to do it. Who do you think did it before her? I did the dishes before her. I did the laundry before her. I cleaned my house before her." It's like, I don't need that. I do appreciate it though. I won't say that I don't. It's just that I think it's low on mine, because if I had to choose between quality time or physical touch or words of affirmation, obviously that's just low on the pole.
Right.
It's just low.
See, for me, when I was married, my husband worked his ass off. So there wasn't a lot of time for him to do things for me. And so I found that I did all the running. I was the one that did all the shopping and taking care of what was going on in our world together. And so I got really good at doing it. And there wasn't a lot of acts of service. Now, maybe if you'd ask him, I'm sure he would say he did 100 things, and he did. I'm sure of it. But, and I'm not just saying that, like, he's a super good person, somebody that I intend to still be friends with after the divorce is final. But yeah, I felt like when I left, there were certain things that I just wanted. And as I go and date or whatever, I'm going to make sure that I get some of that, like having a car washed for me, or having somebody put gas and have it just like grab it and say, "Hey, I filled up your tank." What? I want to see that. Or somebody that'll make breakfast on a Sunday morning for me. I'm a cook. I'll cook every Sunday. I don't care who's around. I cook. If I'm making something, everybody gets it. But it would be nice to have that done for me. And so I think for me, the acts of service, it was definitely number 1 at 26%. But like I said, I don't have a wide spread. So
right, exactly. Yours are very close.
Yeah. So that's
So coming in at number 3 at 20% is words of affirmation. And I think that that's just, most people want to hear good things. I mean, we're human beings. Who doesn't want to hear "you look good today," or "thanks for doing this for me," or, "this really helped me." Everyone wants a pat on the back, or someone always wants to hear you look good to somebody else that you're attracted to, because that's just who we are as human beings. I think who doesn't want to be praised for either doing great stuff or how you look? That's just us. And I think that that's it.
I agree with that. I think for me, that was a 19%. It's third and fourth that are tied. And for me, I noticed over the years, it built up my confidence. Like if he looked at me and he said, "Wow, Teen, you're really pretty today." First of all, it was sincere. You didn't get anything from him that wasn't completely the truth as he saw it at the time. But it also made me stop with the negative reflections towards myself, because I had somebody constantly telling me that I was, in fact, pretty and that I was intelligent and I did have something that was worthwhile and I needed to share that. That changed my opinion of myself in ways that I couldn't have done on my own. So I like that one.
And it's funny, you're at 19 and I'm at 20. I agree. Look, if there's someone that I like, when I hear that from her, it's a whole nother level. It's always going to take you to this other level of confidence of like, most see if you can see it in their eyes of being true. Like anyone can tell you you're good looking or, everyone can bullshit. When you can read someone's eyes for sure and understand that that's exactly true coming from them, there's nothing better than that. And it is a boost of confidence, and it makes you want to puff your chest out in front of them and kind of let them know that they mean the same to you. It's kind of, it's interesting.
Absolutely.
And, again, I think from the human standpoint, who doesn't? If you say you don't want to hear you're pretty or words of praise, you're lying. Mm-hmm. At least in my case, I don't know anyone who would say no.
Everybody needs it to some degree, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Nothing like a pat on the back. It makes you go,
absolutely.
Hee-hee.
It's one of those things, like I said, you look sexy doing that. Well, hell, if I look sexy doing that, you should see this. I like when people do that sort of thing.
Yes. The funny thing is that you've always kind of been that way.
Have I? I didn't realize I was.
I think that, but usually you're the one saying it. Like, yeah, you were always the one who was saying that about someone to pump them up a little bit.
So it at least that's what I remember. So it was pulling a Tina, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's pulling a Tina. I mean, it happens. You've been known to do some crazy shit, mostly for people who don't want to talk.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The funny thing is that look at me now,
So since you brought that up, I got to tell him the story. So I met the professor back in high school, and I was sat next to him because he didn't talk, and I apparently talked too much. So I bugged him every day for over 5 weeks. And I know it was 5 weeks because my first report card in that class was a 5-week report card, and I had an AEE. But I continued to bug the professor and just annoy him until one day he pulled his hat up and he put his collar down, and I could see his face, and he looked at me and he said, "You're not going to quit bugging me until I start talking to you, are you?" And I said, "Yep, pretty much." And from that point on, he just started talking to me. So I wasn't a quitter. It took over 5 weeks to get him to talk to me, but he's been talking to me ever since. So I think that's a good thing.
Nice to know you're not a quitter, Tina.
I'm not a quitter.
not a quitter. Jeez Louise. Yeah. And again, I tell people that story as well. And literally they would be like, you didn't talk?
Mm-mm. I was like, you did not want to talk to me at all.
Yeah. Funny though. I mean, like I said, I don't shut the fuck up now.
You needed me.
Most people would wish that I would shut up.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. So coming in at second place with a whopping 27% would be physical touch.
Mine
And
was 19.
yeah, this one is pretty high on my list. I'm surprised it's not higher. I'm super touchy feely, mostly in a relationship standpoint. Maybe not as much with most people.
I'd agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think I've gotten better over the years. Only 20 years of being in locker rooms, where guys, it's a different thing of like hugging each other, and it was a little different. So I think I opened up more during that time, but in a romantic relationship, it's super important to me. Like I can't go to bed without touching who I'm with, even if it's just a foot or whatever. It's a very OCD thing where I'm just like, I got to make sure that they're there. I don't know what that is. And it's been like that for a long time. And I'm a hand holder, and I dated this girl not too long ago, probably about a year ago. And about 2 years ago. But not a hand holder, and it was really hard for me, like really hard for me. So yeah, that's something super important.
Absolutely. I think for me, physical touch is, I can't stop doing it. My hands are always going. I'm a hairdresser. I touch people all day long, or I did before COVID, but that's beside the point. I'm very touchy as far as like being in somebody's personal space. I've always been told you're too much of a hugger because I hug everybody. My family's like that. We were just born close. It was a hug and a kiss on the mouth for everybody: aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents, siblings. We all did that. So for me, I'm constantly giving touch, but I don't necessarily like everybody touching me, which is, I don't know. I've been told I've been kind of cold. What's that?
I said that is a little odd, but again, I'm kind of the same. So I may not be super touchy feely with everyone, but definitely with the person I'm with.
Absolutely.
Physical touch, I mean, everyone knows. I mean, it's a cornerstone of most relationships. You have to be at least pretty high up on, I think, on everyone's love language. I mean, would you agree or no?
I think that physical touch is definitely important, but I on another level, I see where couples really, they get to a point they don't want each other touching them, and I've noticed that quite a bit. Like, how could you get to the point where you hate it like that? Because it's supposed to be something that brings you peace, that brings you pleasure, that brings you a sense of being supported and of being loved, but yet it turns for people. I don't know. For me, physical touch it depends on how I'm touched and who I'm doing it.
Sure.
Pretty specific.
Yeah. I would say in most romantic relationships, you're correct. As you grow in relationships, maybe it becomes a little less important. Sadly, I mean, that would probably be my problem, is that if it started fading, I would probably have a problem.
I get
because
that.
It's important to me. So I don't know.
If you don't get it though, that tends to create a very lonely space in between you and your mate. And that I've experienced too. And that doesn't work for me. So then in that situation, physical touch is extremely important. It's amazing how it could switch with me from one extreme to the other. Also, with different people I've been with in the past, you have to be careful how you touch them. Like, one person, you rub across their skin a couple times and they're kind of annoyed, where another person, you could fall asleep rubbing the same spot and they will never move. And as a matter of fact, if they fall asleep, they're drooling on you. So
right.
That to me is that's a different situation, because it's just so personal to to the one you're with and the relationship you have with them.
Correct. It's learning your mate.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that with all of these, it's learning your mate at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
That's why knowing their love language, I think, is important. It's learning which one's more important. And then the subgenre of that, of once you find out what it is that their love language is, how to do that love language without it being annoying.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's true. So my number one is quality time.
Okay. That's my number 2 at 23%.
Mine is 37%.
Wow. Okay. Let's talk about that.
I think mine mostly now is probably because the lack of being able to see someone.
Okay.
So while I answered these questions this last time, it's because I can't see the person that I would want to be with. So quality time right now would be super duper important to me because I can't have it.
I agree with that.
So I think that because before I took this test about a year and a half ago, and physical touch was on top, followed by quality time, because I think those both kind of go hand in hand. Pardon the pun. But in this case, I think right now it's just the lack of being able to see said person. So quality time right now would just be important.
I think quality time, though, is important. And again, quality time it's so diverse in what it could be. It just has to be important to the couple. Like for me, quality time would be if somebody, went and did some errands with me, or just spent time, or we started to do something together and then we blew it off and did something completely different. Just the act of being together, but not bitching at each other, not getting on each other for what isn't done and what should be done, or what was paid, what wasn't paid. It should be time where you're getting to know each other and not bitching at them for things that are going wrong. That to me doesn't, because there are times when if I get bitched at, I'm like, get out of my car. I don't even want to deal with you. Right. And then there's other times where we could be doing the worst jobs ever, but if we're together, we're like joking and laughing. I'll take that and do whatever I got to do to keep that going for a long time.
Yeah. Again, I think quality time is of the utmost importance. It's like you said, there's so many different kinds of quality time. It's funny because when you start looking at some of these things like acts of service, I know couples that have children, an act of service to some of them can be, watching the kids while I go nap because I had a shitty day. Mm-hmm. Then you can make that up with quality time. Absolutely. After the nap and the kids go to bed, you spend quality time together. But you have to remember to make that time work for everyone. You can't be the one taking the nap and then when you wake up, you're shitty and you don't want to have quality time at the end of the day. I believe if you want a successful relationship, to some degree, you have to do all of these things. And for me, apparently, in order to have anything function, it's got to be almost all of it together. My range is from 26 to 13%. I'm kind of like right in the same area with all of these things. So I was like, wow, am I really that high? That's needy. Is it needy? Because no, but I mean, it's not high maintenance. I would say it's more needy because you're so close to all of them. Yeah, maybe. But here's the deal. The type of person I am, you get acts of service. Like I said, I was the one that'll run all the little errands and go to the store and, oh, do you need, the car is broke down? Okay, I'll take it in. I'll do whatever I need to do. Quality time, I always make sure to spend time with people that I want to be with. And I really do that. That's something that who I want to be around because I'm around them. Words of affirmation. I like to tell people they look sexy doing something that they're not paying attention to. Physical touch.
I'm a hairdresser. Does it get any more touchy than that?
Yeah.
But the receiving gifts, I'm like, that's not that big of a deal because I could get my own things. But if you're treating me good, I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Here's a question for you. Okay. Would you put quality time with it? Would you put that in the same ballpark of giving your mate time to go out with their friends?
No. Quality time is time that you have with your mate to build on your relationship. Quality time for somebody to get the hell out has nothing to do with the relationship. They just need a break. But I think that's important too.
Yeah. Oh no, that's entirely important. You have to be able to let your mate go out and do things outside of your relationship.
Absolutely.
It can't be the sole thing, but you definitely have to. If you can't let your woman go out on a Friday night with her girlfriends and go have fun, there's a problem. I mean, there's a bigger problem. As long as you know they're coming home to you, or they're the type of person, like the type of person, you better call me at the end of the night and tell me you're home safe. That's all I want.
That's not a hard request to fulfill, though, if you ask me.
No, it's not. But, some people would be like, oh, I can't, why do you want that? Because I want to make sure they're safe. It has nothing to do with trust is one of those things where it doesn't matter. You're more apt to cheat on your spouse at the supermarket than you are the club.
You say that.
I think so. I mean, I think that you're meeting people in a more real circumstances. If everyone's grabbing at the bell peppers, you're just a regular person. You go to a club, you're at a meat market.
That's true.
If you're there to bang somebody, it's already in your head. So if you're going there in a relationship and that's on your mind, you're already there. But if you meet somebody in public and you see them in the real world with, their sweats and their t-shirt on and their hair in a bun, and you still go, damn, that girl's hot, then, that's when you have to worry. At least I think so. Because, look, if you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat. If you're not, you're not.
Yep, I agree with that.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
I hear you.
But these love languages, I think, are an important topic. I think it's something that the listeners should definitely look into, at least take the quiz, whether it's for shits and giggles or for your mate. You should both take it and kind of see and then discuss.
Absolutely. I had heard about it for years, didn't look at the book, had the book. My friend gave it to me. I read the first couple chapters, fell asleep, never picked it up again. And I'm noticing, it's crazy. You said it came out in 1992, and I'm noticing people are talking about it right now, where I wasn't hearing all the hype about it before. And normally I hear stuff. So I was kind of amazed that it's been out that long.
Yeah, I agree. I really had never heard about it. And to be fair, like I didn't hear about Men Are From Mars or Women Are From Venus until I was getting a divorce. So, and that book had also been out for years and years and years. I think you have to be open to it. Mm-hmm. You have to be open to hear it from other people. And then you're going to go, oh, all right. Because I would have never taken this test as well. Someone said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this to see what your love language is? And the person who told me her number one is acts of service. And I think that's because of the relationships she was in the past, where both men she was with didn't give her acts of service. She did everything. So when she had a chance to have that kind of relationship, that's what happened. Like, I think she likes that more than the quality time and physical touch, because she didn't get it before. So it's interesting. I think it's interesting to I'm going to hobnob with some friends and kind of bounce this off of them as well and tell people to take this test, and maybe we'll revisit this show, do another show later on with kind of what we've learned from this and what we got from other people. Cause I'd like to hear what a majority of people end up, with.
I would too. I think it'll be interesting because I know none of my friends have talked about this, that the ones that I hang out anyway. So if they've heard about it, they haven't talked to me. If they didn't hear about it, maybe it's something we need to look into. Like I said, at least to see where you're at a little bit. Most of the time, women say things to men, but they're not clear on what they need. Like, you don't do this. Well, what does he need to do in order to fulfill that for you? When I was married, I really struggled with that. Like, I had to figure out how to tell him exactly what I needed, because it didn't matter if I thought he knew. He didn't know. He did not know. And me yelling at him and bitching at him and him wanting to fix it, because that's what men do, but not being able to because he didn't know how to even do it. I needed to be more direct with him. And I think that as women, we need to do that.
Agree. And I think as men, as long as we tell everyone and they understand that we're not mind readers, and that goes both ways. Nobody's a mind reader. Relationships will get better, and people will have healthier relationships. My thing is, I had to remember to tell the person that I was with, you don't need to fix me. This is my struggle. This is what I'm going through. Can you just listen? You don't even need an opinion. So you can even half-ass listen, but I just need you to listen and not fix me, because I don't like being fixed. Apparently I got a problem with that, but I do like somebody to hear me. And then I do like to be able to process it and get it out all on my own. And unfortunately, we're fixers. That's just who we are as people, I think. But men, that's our problem. All right. Last words?
I think that was it.
All right. Well, my last words are give this a try. Go out, do your 5 love language quiz, talk to your mate, and see what happens. You can get back to us. We're on Facebook now. We're on Instagram. We're on, Twitter. We're on a bunch of stuff. We'll be giving those addresses out next week. And for now, we'll say that's it. And as always, don't get this twisted. I am the professor for my lovely co-host, Tina. We will see you next week.